Hello, and welcome to Wowza Studio Sessions, live from the floor at NAB, booth SU7114. My name is Aubrey Russell, and I will be hosting this studio session. I am the head of production at LiveX, a live production company based in New York, best known for the webcast of Times Square New Year's Eve, 10 years running. And today I'm actually joined on set by someone from another very well-known production company, Broadcast Management Group. Broadcast Management Group is a one-stop production provider that has traveled the world producing impactful videos for their clients, and I am happy to have their CEO and executive in charge of production, Todd Mason, with me today. Hey, Todd.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
Appreciate
course.
it.
We had you on last year, and I was so eager to have you back.
Well, I enjoyed it last year, and thank you for having me back.
Definitely. If you want to talk to us a little bit about what Broadcast Management Group has been up to for the last year, we got a nice update at the 2018 NAB show. So what has your year been filled with?
Well, it's been a great year. We're really grateful for that. Grateful for all of our clients and our staff that keep our clients coming back over and over again. It's been a mix. You know, our business is diverse into 5 areas. So kind of taking area by area, our live production division, we've done the Emmys and the Oscars, a lot of companion shows for that, Comic-Con, Toronto Film Festival. So we hit a lot of different festivals and award shows all over the place. Town halls for China Global Television. This is the Oscars that we just did. From Elton John's party that's about 20 years in the running, which was pretty fantastic because it was the first time that anyone has gone live from that event. So,
can you talk to me about what kind of coverage you did at that event?
Yeah, so we produced a 5-hour live show from the Elton John AIDS Foundation party in West Hollywood. So they take over the West Hollywood Park and tent over the whole thing. Elton invites about 1,000 of his closest friends for dinner and for watching the Oscars. So we had a studio in what was the disco. So it was the disco after our show. So we had to strike our show within 1 hour and convert it back to a disco. So that was quite special. All the cameras, jib, lighting, stage, everything, and we did it in 45 minutes. So that was great. But it was the first time to ever do a show from that event. So we had a pre-Oscar show, then we produced a second screen show during the Oscars, and on the when the Oscars went to break, we went back to our studio, and then after the Oscars, we had a 30-minute wrap-up show. So it was about 5 hours live that night.
Yeah, and your whole production team was on the ground for that?
Well, not our whole production team,
okay.
But we had, it's a combination of BMG full-time staff and freelancers that we work with all the time in LA. We do a lot of work in the LA market, and our crew is about 90 people total.
Wow,
so
that's amazing, yeah.
Created a production village in a construction zone adjacent to the park, which was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Actually had to get a backhoe to dig out a spot for the truck to be able to back into.
Did you wear hard hats on set?
We probably should have, but we didn't.
Yeah, we got LiveX hard hats a couple years back. We did a show in Grand Central, and they had so much infrastructure that they built in construction that everyone was required to wear hard hats. So we have pictures of our team in these yellow hard hats.
Branded, though.
And no, so they were just yellow hard hats.
Okay.
So then Corey was like, our founder was like, we're getting hard hats that say LiveX. And so now we have a wall in the office that's like 6 hard hats that say LiveX. And we still have yet to get to use them on a job again, but we are prepared.
You're prepared.
When the next hard hat job comes along.
Well, that's the thing about live production is you have to always be prepared. There you go. We're
ready to go, yeah. Our next thing is ponchos. We've decided that if the cameras get rain gear, then our team gets rain gear as well.
Sure. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good. Planning ahead. Yeah.
So where did you guys stream to for that show?
So IMDb had a partnership with Twitter, so we were live on Twitter. We were also live on Twitch and imdb.com. And I can't reveal the exact numbers, but we had millions of people watching the show. So it just goes, the demand of the quality and the production value. So the picture quality and the production value itself and the content has to be equal to any network broadcast show, because this is where people are going to watch their content. And then getting creative of how to use the various platforms for your given show. So, for example, during the Oscars ceremony, our show was converted to a companion show. So we were expecting everyone to be watching on their big screen at their home the Oscars, but where do you go to get auxiliary content? You're going to Twitter. Mm-hmm. And so we provided, the unique, content for that Twitter platform. And then when you go to commercial, they go to commercial break, what do? Well, we came back to our studio. So it takes a lot of coordination with the broadcast show and that, but we complement the broadcast show.
So do you guys, do you share a comm system at all with the broadcast show for that? I know on Times Square New Year's we are latched in with our ClearComm system into their system so that our AD is able to listen to their AD so that we know when we're coming out of a segment that we're not supposed to be on or when we've got a deliverable that's coming up that we need to take.
That is really helpful. It's not that level of cooperation with the Oscars because they also do, not a second screen, but they have their own streaming show as well. But we have the rundown, and we'll follow that, and we have to just be really in tune with that.
Yeah.
Now, Elton John, in the main tent where the dinner was, they have a video support for they have a ton of screens in there.
Okay.
So we were on comms with them to coordinate because they would take our live show into the big tent as well for certain segments, and so that was very cooperative and worked really well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun show.
It was outrageous.
Yes.
It really was so much fun.
Did you get to enjoy the disco afterwards?
I did not, because we had to, we struck the set area very quickly, but then we still had everything else. We had robotic cameras in the big tent, so we could cut to those. We had robotic cameras on the red carpet, so all those still had to be struck after they cleared the big tent, and then our production village, we had a post-production truck, and we had a team of about 20 people.
Like live post-production? Sorry to interrupt. Or was
they were. What they were doing, the post team were doing a few things. One, for our live show, they were editing clips, sending it back to the trucks. They were push-pull back and forth. And then they were also, for imdb.com, their social media, they were posting throughout the night. So we went off the air somewhere around 9:30 that night, but they were posting until about 12:30. Gotcha. And so then we had to clear out the whole video village. So I did not get to enjoy the after party.
Yeah, we've had a lot of inquiries recently for live edits, so I wasn't sure if you guys have been dealing with that as well, or if that's
what type of live edits were?
So for the Global Climate Action Summit in San Francisco last year, they wanted live clips of each of the speakers immediately after the speaking.
Yes,
that's something that
we do that with a lot of our shows. Mm-hmm. So absolutely.
Do you mind if I ask your workflow for that?
Yeah, so we have a SAN that we have in the post truck, and then it's connected via fiber to EVS. And so we pull back and forth. Then all the edit systems are attached to the SAN, and that is a super fast workflow. It's worked out really well. We've been doing that for a number of years, and the technology has been getting better and better and more seamless. So yeah.
Yeah, we do not have an EVS, and we don't rent one. The New Year's Eve in Times Square show, we would often rent a truck for that, which came with EVS, so we would get an EVS operator. So this year we built our own trailer, so we have a 24-foot trailer that we premiered at New Year's. Yeah, it was very exciting.
Really?
Yes, and speaking of LiveX branding, our smacked
got
all
it
over
covered?
it. Yeah.
I know Corey, and he's good at marketing, so yeah.
I put this pin on because I said, if he sees this interview and sees
he'll be
I don't
very
have
happy.
A pin on,
right,
he'll be like, why didn't you have any LiveX branding?
Make sure you tell Corey, I'm jealous of the pen. We don't have a BMG pen, so
you should get a BMG.
I'm going to work on and the hard hat. So we actually
do you have ponchos?
I don't have ponchos, but we do. We have an integration division, and we are building a couple of facilities, one in Chicago and one outside of Washington D.C. right now, and one here in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. So we actually do need hard hats. So I'm going to look. I'm going to call you up afterward. Find out about the branded hard hats.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. So we had to figure out a workflow where it wasn't in our scope to have an EVS machine. It no longer made sense.
Yeah.
And so we are big fans of vMix.
Yep.
and Production Bot, which is something shameless plug. And so we actually used a NAS. We have an Evo, portable one. And we connected that to our production bots in our trailer on our second bench.
Nice.
And our editor would bring in all the footage and then put it up there, and then 2 production bots that were connected on the network would bring them into vMix and would play them out through vMix. We also had program and another camera running into each of those that would then record using vMix and then bring it back into their playback system and be able to play out video. So
that's a great workflow.
Yeah, it made sense for what we were doing. Obviously, EVS fixes a lot of other things, but
Sure.
But yeah, it was very exciting for us to be able to have a workflow that didn't fit the price of an EBS.
Well, we own a number of flight packs. We have a equipment distribution center on the East Coast outside of Washington, D.C., and we have one here in Las Vegas. And so our model for those is about a 20-hour drive distance is where we will take where the equipment will go. But we found that for playback, another good option, if you don't have a truck and you have a flight pack, is we've been very happy with 3Play from NewTek.
Yeah.
There are a lot of 3Play operators, which is really important.
Yes.
That you have good people out there, so there's a good market for that, and it's pretty user-friendly. And we use for the Oscars, we also did the Vanity Fair red carpet show, and that was with a flight pack, and we used 3Play, and it worked really well. Yeah,
this is, excuse my ignorance on this specific product. Does the 3Play, can you do it over NDI as well, since it's NewTek?
Yes, and that's how we did the Vanity Fair party.
Very cool.
With the Vanity Fair event, it was kind of with the IMDb show, we had a huge production village, 90 people working on the show between production and post-production, and so it was a big event. Vanity Fair, we were very limited in space, and a truck wasn't an option where the venue was, so we had a flight pack. But then the other challenge is just off the red carpet, we were given a 10 by 10 tent, which was really not enough for our whole production village, so we had our half of it about 300 feet away, and NDI was the way to go, and so it worked out really well. So we had inside the building, we had our playback and graphics, video shading, and comms control was there, and then in our little 10 by 10 tent was our director, our producer, our TD, and A1.
Perfect.
So, and it worked out really well.
That's fantastic.
I'm a fan of NDI. Our engineering team knows it really well, and that's really important because it is challenging to work with, but once you really know it, it opens up a lot of avenues.
Definitely. Very cool. Well, we're going to do a little shift over. We've been seeing a lot. Did you just walk on the floor for the show, or have you walked around at all?
I have not. Well, I've been here with a client. We spent the morning at the Ross booth, and so looking at different technology for a couple of build-out projects. So I have not been to the whole floor. I can't wait. Okay,
yeah, definitely. So we've seen, obviously, ATSC3 was announced a couple years back, and for anyone at home who is unfamiliar with what I'm saying, ATSC3, ATSC stands for the Advanced Television Systems Committee. So this is an international group of broadcasters, television manufacturers, tech companies. Started in the U.S. in 1982 and then was adopted by many other countries very soon after. And the initial purpose for this was to move the world into HD TV. Obviously, this was 1982. HD TV was not adopted by the rest of the world for quite some time. But now they have ATSC3, which they announced 2015. And there's actually a significant number of manufacturers that I've seen that have it plastered all over their booths, which I kind of did not expect. Obviously, we've been talking about it. My boss has been making us read some white papers on it. We're excited for it, for what it could mean for the future of broadcast and what that means whenever you say future of broadcast, how that impacts the streaming industry. But yes, there's a big push for that. And then I did not expect the big push from Blackmagic for 8K.
Yeah, how about that?
Obviously, Japan has had
recorder.
8K. 8K television for a while now, but they're always ahead, so I never try to hold us to the bar of Japan. But with the fact, obviously HDTV didn't happen until after 4K was an option anyways.
Right.
But a big push for both at the same time seemed slightly unexpected for me. I wasn't sure what your thoughts were on that.
Lot of thoughts.
Yeah.
So, one, broadcast and streaming to me are the same.
You'd find a lot of broadcasters who do not agree with that statement.
I know, but in our consulting practice, what is interesting, one thing that's been, we've had a number of clients hire us for us to help them integrate their social media and digital teams with their broadcast teams.
Okay.
And the funny common thread with that is that when social media was first becoming a thing and organizations were developing that, their broadcast division was like, that will never last, that's not going nowhere, those people are just wasting time and money. And then as it became, a thing and serious, they started building up their infrastructure. And so what you ended up having is duplication because they were using a lot of the same technology, and it made it very inefficient from a cost perspective, a head count, a technology, and a distribution perspective. So we've been going in and helping a lot of that. And so to your point with broadcasters and streaming, I see like deja vu again. It's the same thing, but so I think in this case, what you're talking about, it took a long time for HD to come out, and now 4K is rolling out, and now we're already talking about a big push to 8K. I think that's going to happen a lot faster because more and more of the population around the world is watching content streaming. OTT is exploding right now. We're doing a lot in that space. And so you don't have, it's not as complicated. I'm not saying it's not complicated, but it's not as complicated as what linear networks have to deal with. And that's really that complication from the transmissions to the whole technical infrastructure is what really took HD so long to come to market. So I think 8K is something that people should be looking at seriously right now. And as with your company, our company, and a lot of other people that are out here looking at technology and what to buy, you really have to consider that right now.
Yeah, I mean, we just built our studio about a year ago, and it's a fully 4K studio in Manhattan.
Right.
But the amount of clients that have used it for its 4K capabilities is minimal.
Yeah.
Because of where they're streaming to, or because of unless it's the records, often they want the records in 4K.
Right.
Future proof, all that.
That's right.
But because the streaming platforms, really only YouTube supports it. Does Twitch support it?
No, not yet.
Okay, not yet. But YouTube's really the only one that supports it. So even if they want to stream 4K, they're only streaming 4K on YouTube, and we're down converting for the rest of the social because you have to be on every platform.
That's true, and that's going to be changing. But I think you still end up with a higher quality, net, even down converted. So I always opt to produce content, whether it's live or live to tape, in the highest quality format, possible. And then if you down convert it down, I see the difference, even down converted.
Yeah. Do you see the difference between 8K and 4K to the human eye?
Yeah.
You do?
I do, but I'm
8K content.
I mean, it's if you're looking at the right monitor,
it's another thing.
That's a whole nother. Yeah, it's a whole nother thing.
Just got the new 4K TVs.
Right, I know.
Like, come on.
Well, I upgrade at home once a year, and I mean, it's what I do,
yes,
and so I want to be looking, at the highest quality, that I can. So I always make sure that's the case. So when 8K is feasible and everything, I'll be one of the first to do it, but I might be a little bit ahead of what most people would do, and it takes a mass number of people for it to actually shift the industry. But and then the other is going to be 5G coming out and being available everywhere. That's going to have a big impact on the speed.
Yeah, and obviously 5G, people are very affected by it. T-Mobile did the giant. They're boosting that they have 5G capabilities, all these things. People are looking at their phones and saying, oh, I have 5G on my phone.
Right.
But really, that's not completely accurate.
Right.
They're not necessarily getting the same bandwidth they think they're getting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have many clients who are having to get new RF range because they're no longer in a legal spectrum anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see, obviously, how other companies are going to tackle 5G and how quickly that comes into play. Obviously, there's always a lot of balls in the air with technology, and I'm interested to see if it's going to be another DVD Blu-ray situation, and which one kind of wins out in the end.
You mean with 5G or with 8K?
Yeah, there's just so many now different like transport methods.
Yeah.
That, I mean, they're all going to be adopted in some way.
Right.
Obviously, Blu-ray had features that DVD was never able to offer.
I had a Blu-ray,
also,
yeah.
but very few people really adopt it.
I didn't get my money out of that.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. I think Verizon is investing a lot of money in the 5G network, and I think that's a very good thing that they're doing that. That's going to push everybody else along and make it come to market faster. And I think what Verizon sees, OTT as, the growth of OTT and 5G is going to be really helpful, to that. So, OTT is, driving a lot more content production because now, you have most of your networks have an OTT platform.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're looking at it. But now we have a client, TD Ameritrade, and we launched a network for them. So they have their own OTT channel right now, and the content is it's not an advertising channel. It's a content channel where people that are sophisticated investors looking to know the best trading methods and what's going on to the market and how they can apply what's happening right now, because it's very current, to their actual trading strategies. That's what the content is about. It happens to be sponsored by TD Ameritrade, and that's very helpful for them. But now you look at that example. When I said we were building that network, people are like, TD Ameritrade, their own channel, why? And now they see it and they get it. Well, it opens up to all these other brands that are looking currently at creating their own channel. So it's great for our industry, OTT, and the expansion of it.
Definitely. I mean, streaming allows for extremely niche content to be available to the super fans.
Right.
And the super fans are the streaming audience, in my opinion. Who watches second screen of the Oscars?
Right.
Super fans of the Oscars.
Right. That's right.
Watches second screens of a horse race?
Yep.
Super fans of the horse race.
Absolutely. Right.
So whatever.
And advertisers like that.
Exactly.
So, and you always have to have the advertisers.
Yeah, and before we wrap it up, that's one thing that ATSC3 offers, though, that isn't offered in our current system, was targeted advertising.
Yeah.
So in that way, obviously money speaks.
Yes.
And so I feel like ATSC3 might happen sooner than expected because there is so much money that is available then.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you totally. I mean, catering to the advertising, being able to the advertisers, their expectations, keep increasing all the time, and so they want that trackability, and they want to be able to laser focus on who they're advertising. The idea of spitting in the wind is gone. Their advertisers are a lot more savvy now. So any way you can give them more handles is going to bring more advertising, which will bring more production, which we like.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We really do.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Please.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Todd, for being here. Always
Thanks
a pleasure.
for having me.
Enjoy the rest of the NAB show.
I will.
And thank you so much for watching Wowza Studio Sessions live from the booth at NAB. We'll be back on the hour at 12 o'clock. See you then.